What if I told you that if you just switch it from Windows to Linux because you think you're now completely safe from hackers and viruses, you are wrong. Linux gives you a lot of control, right? Well, with more power comes more responsibility. If you have more control over your system, you also need to understand how to manage it securely. Of course, this video will be based on Linux systems. I'm not gonna make a video about securing an operating system that randomly takes screenshot of your desktop without you even knowing. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to turn your Linux machine from an easy target into a freaking fortress. We will start from the outside, what an attacker can see before compromising your machine, and then move to what happens if they actually gain access. If an attacker takes over your account, well, you need to be prepared and don't let him having root privilege and maybe install a rootkit. A rootkit is a particularly stealthy type of malware designed to grant administrator level control over your system or even worse, your network. So let's start with the basic from the outside. I want to point out that I will use Arch Linux, which in terms of package management, it is different from operating system like Ubuntu or Debian. The reason, on Arch, you control every single package, it's in your computer. On the opposite side, OS like Ubuntu or other ones are overloaded and will increase the chance to have packages you don't even know are installed. So whenever I use pacman, just replace it with apt install if you are on Ubuntu or Debian or other similar distros. 1. Firewall. You use Linux, so it's very likely that you're gonna install services that maybe needs to expose some ports, right? For instance, a Docker container that will forward the container port from the container to your own machine, meaning that you can access that service, but guess what? Everyone can. To simplify it better, even when you open a Python server to share some files to another machine you control, not only you will be able to reach that server, everyone will be, and you don't want someone else to steal your data or look into your stuff, right? Well, we can use a beautiful tool, UFW, aka uncomplicated firewall. You can simply install it like so. We also need to enable it so that every time we boot our PC, that service will automatically start. We can do that in the following way. Now we need to start it and see the status of the firewall. So let's say we open a Python server in the following way. We can go on the website and see our material, right? These resources will be available for everyone. If we are the one that needed it, why should we share it to the whole network? We can use the following command to deny every inbound request on that port. No one can access that port anymore. To check it out, you can even run UFW status. That's not the only way of using it. In fact, you can block specific IPs or just allow specific IPs. For instance, we can use the following command to deny access from that specific IP. As you can see, we also added insert one, which will prioritize that rule, making sure other rules will not override it. The best part, most of the time, when an attacker gets access to a network, the first thing he will try to do is an host discovery. Those attackers use ping to enumerate alive hosts in the network. They will ping every single host, and if that host replies, that will be flagged as alive. If you want to be a ghost in your network, simply deny every single request that will attempt to reach that protocol. We can do it by editing this file and then add the following string. Then we can reload the firewall and that rule will be applied. Exposed ports. It can happen that you have simple system services that start on boot. Maybe something that you installed in the past, or maybe something that your system installed. What happens is that if that service exposes ports on your machine, everyone can access those ports. To check it out, we can use this command in the following way. If you find a port you don't know or something strange, simply use px in the following way, grabbing that port. If you can't find the process, you can even use elseof in the following way and try to understand the process that it is using that port. Why? Most of you probably have this service running without even realizing it. Let's see what it actually does. Avahi implements multicast domain name system and DNS service discovery, allowing devices on the same network to automatically discover each other without requiring a traditional DNS server. For example, when you're looking for a network printer, you usually don't need to know its IP address. You simply see its name and connect to it. That's because the printer advertises its service over multicast domain name system. The same mechanism can also expose information about your own machine. If your system is advertising a source name, someone on the same network may be able to discover it by simply running ping username.local, and if an attacker wants to enumerate every advertised service on the network, they can run the following command and see the following output. If you don't use network service discovery, there is no reason to leave a while running. You can simply disable it like so. SSH. We can harden SSH in order to make the attacker life harder. We can add those lines in the configuration file of SSH. Password authentication equals no. So that means that if you need to access your computer from the outside, you just need a key. Allow users allow just a user that should be authorized for SSH service. Permit root login to prevent root login access and max out tries. Another beautiful thing, you want to ban every user who try to access your SSH, install fail to ban. They're gonna be banned after 3 or 5 tries for hours. Inside, an attacker gained access on your user is not the end of the world, but you have an objective: prevent a possible privilege escalation. When an attacker gains access to your user, if you know how an attacker tries to escalate privileges, you also know how you can prevent that. First of all, let's check your ID. See if you are in a group that could lead to a privilege escalation. An example, Docker. Why it happens? Because a lot of users choose to not use sudo to use Docker. Instead, they add themselves to a Docker group. But guess what? That is a straight privileges escalation path, and also one of the easiest one. If you are in a Docker group, see how easy it is to get root access. Binaries. Check binaries that has 4000 permission or sudo permissions. This will make the binary run as a sudo user. How to check it? In the following way. With the following command. You will get a list of binaries. Check on websites like GTF phobins if they can lead to privilege escalation or not. Capabilities. Those ones are very similar to sudo binaries. Run the following command and look up on Google if that can be vulnerable or not. Sudoers. Sudoers are users or groups listed in a system file who have permission to run commands with root powers. It is recommended to use a different user for root access. How to check if you are part of them? Simply run sudo-shell. If you see the following output, well, you are a sudoers. You can delete your user from sudoers user in the following way. Why it matters? If somebody gain access to your account, you don't want him to have root privileges. Lasagne. This tool is a password grasper. That will be the first thing attacker will do to try to get every password in your PC. From your browser to your system keyring, run this tool. If you can spot something, and believe me, it's not hard, fix that. Cron job, which are scheduled tasks. A cron job can lead to privileges escalation. If a task scheduled by a high privileges user like root execute a script or binary that a low privileged user can modify, manipulate or misdirect, then they have open doors. Full disk encryption. Make sure your device is encrypted. Use LUKS for that. If somebody steals your laptop, I bet you don't want them to see your data, right? Secure boot. You need to access your BIOS for that, but it protects your computer by stopping bad software from running when you turn on your PC. So why disabling it? Unused service. Run the following command and see if some service is being used or not. If not, well, you can disable it. AID, aka Advanced Intrusion Detection Environment. It is a host-based file integrity checker that creates a baseline database of file attributes like permissions, size, and cryptographic checksum to detect unauthorized system modification, file tampering, or breaches. The first time you need to initialize the database in the following way. So let's say it's been 1 week now, you want to check if something changed. You can run the following command, and if you get an output like this, then you will spot differences. Here are some general recommendations. Always update your packets, check your environment variables. Many times you can find tokens or personal password that can be stolen, and make sure your shell history has not password or similar. If you want a video on how to recognize if someone hacked your computer, so understanding indication of compromisions, drop a comment in the description below. If you are a beginner just starting out and you wanna know more about this world, make sure to follow me on every social media, join the Discord community full of passionate people like you, and check out my academy. See you soon.